Welcome to the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast, the show where real estate investors talk strategy, capital, deals, and growth with your host, Dave Dubeau.
Hey, gang, welcome back. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had the idea that it would be so wonderful to invest in real estate from a distance? Well, it can be done. And both of our guests today, who are business partners, are doing exactly that in the self-storage space. So zooming in from Maryland, we've got Margot Kennedy, and zooming in from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, we have Christy Brock. So ladies, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for the invitation.
My pleasure. All right, you guys. So at the time that we're recording this, it's early May 2026. Let's just start off. Give us a quick little snapshot of what your portfolio consists of and approximately how many different facilities or units or however you measure things you've got going right now.
Okay. Well, we currently have 4 self-storage facilities, and we are all over the country. They're in Washington State, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, and we're getting ready to close on one in Texas.
Nice.
And so for a total of what now, about 1,200 units? Well, the Texas one will push us higher than that, like 1,500.
Right. We're currently at 1,250, and that'll push us to 1,600, almost 1,600.
Wonderful. All right. So all of those different places, I didn't hear Maryland mentioned. I didn't hear Puerto Vallarta mentioned. So you're both doing this definitely from a distance. I'm curious, because Christy, we talked a little bit offline. You've been in Puerto Vallarta for 6 years. Margot, you're in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys connect, and how long have you been working together for?
We've been partners for just over 3 years, almost 4 years now.
Yep.
And we've been buying storage for almost 2.5 years. We both have a multifamily and other commercial asset background. And, we were looking for partners, and we went to an event. We met, and the next time we saw each other, that was it. We just decided this is what
Real
we're doing.
estate sparks flew.
It was real estate
sight.
love at first sight. Yeah. So, the way that we run our business, it's best that we don't buy in our backyard. We have a remote model for our business, which we'll get into later, I'm sure, but it works out really well for us.
Yeah.
Very good. So, Margot, both of you have experience in other asset classes. A couple of years ago, you switched over into self-storage. Why the big switch? Why not continue focusing on multifamily, commercial, whatever it is that you were doing before?
Well, we had both done a number of different types of things, but when we started out working together, we were focused on multifamily. That's what we had been doing in recent years. And we were just finding it very difficult to find deals that penciled. In fact, not difficult, pretty much impossible.
To this day, I hear the same thing, even though it's supposedly shaking out and things are getting more reasonable. It's hard to find good deals.
And clearly people are doing deals, but we weren't finding deals that were going to work for our investors and for our models. And so we started looking at other asset classes. And after sort of feeling a few other ones out, we settled on self-storage. And it's a great asset class. It's so much simpler than multifamily. It's simpler to underwrite. It's simpler to manage and operate. And, the old adage, no tenants, no toilets, no termites. So it's just a simpler operation overall.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So speaking of operationally, how you guys run things from a distance, Christy, maybe tell us a little bit about, big broad strokes. What does the business look like from the inside, taking care of these 4 different facilities in 4 completely different markets? In your case, quite a great distance. How do you guys run your business?
Well, one of the more interesting things about self-storage versus multifamily is that self-storage property managers are national, whereas with multifamily, they are highly regional, and you need someone who knows that market intimately. But because self-storage and the way that we run it with the remote model or a hybrid model, we have one property management company that we utilize for the entire portfolio. And so it makes it very easy. And then we have a complete team with that property manager. They have a siloed style of management where they have a team of marketing. They have a team that focuses on revenue management, a team that focuses on operations. And so we are literally managing the manager, and it just makes our job much easier. So when we get our reports, when we have our meetings, it's one team for the entire portfolio. It just makes life easier for us.
Yeah, very good. So Margot, working with partners is sometimes challenging. I'm speaking from personal experience, not great personal experience in the past. You guys have been working together for a while now. How have you kind of divvied up responsibilities? What lanes do you have, and how do each one of you stay in your own lane and not step on the other person's toes?
Well, we have a fair amount of overlap. And we talk regularly, so we're always sharing information. But it's sort of, fallen into place that I do a lot of the CapEx, capital projects on sites and managing the contractors. And so that's pretty much of a full-time job, especially when we first buy a facility, and that's a very heavy lift at that point. Doesn't last long, but it's pretty intense for a few months. Yeah. And Christy has these amazing broker relationships, and she does the majority of the underwriting. And then, there's a lot of stuff in between, and we just sort it out as things come up.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, Christy, maybe tell me because you've both got so much experience in other asset classes, you decided to switch over and focus, it sounds like exclusively right now, on self-storage. What is it that you guys really like about self-storage? Margot touched on it, but maybe tell me what are the big broad strokes when you're explaining this to a potential partner or investor? Why self-storage?
There's two things that I would say. Number one, self-storage happens because life happens. So it doesn't matter where the economy is going. It doesn't matter what else is happening. Self-storage is something you need because of death, divorce, disease, disaster, all of the big Ds, displacement. These things happen when the economy is up, the economy is down. So the need for storage is always there. And it's one of the more recession resistant, economy resistant asset classes because of that. So that means people always need it, regardless if the population is increasing. If you have, 100 households, death and divorce are going to happen. People still need to, if the economy is good, they're buying more. If the economy is bad, then, they're moving stuff around. It just happens.
They're downsizing.
They're down.
Where they're living, they can't get rid of all their crap, so they got to put it somewhere. Yeah.
The need persists regardless of the economy.
Hey there, if you're a capital raiser, a syndicator, or a fund manager, and you're looking for a steady flow of incoming accredited investor leads, then go ahead, grab a free copy of my new book, How to Get 20 Accredited Investor Meetings Every Month Without Cold Calling, Networking, or Chasing People. You can get that at 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com. Again, that's the number 20accreditedinvestorsbook.com.
The second thing I would point to is the fact that about 70% of the self-storage industry is still mom and pop owned, which means there's a ton of opportunity. It's not like in multifamily where every property has been turned over 4 times in the past 15 years. We buy facilities that have been in a family or owned by a group of people for 20, 30 plus years. And they're happy to get the income without doing the work. So we get a lot of seller financing. All of our deals have been seller financing, which gives us a lot of strength in our deals. We're not worried about where interest rates are going. We get, 5%, 5.5% interest only for 5 years, 10 years. I mean, amazing terms that you could never get from a bank. So we get in easier, we get in faster. The deal we just closed last month in April 2026, we closed it in 3 weeks because it was seller financing, because some folks really wanted to exit, and we got a fantastic deal on it. The industry is full of amazing people, nice people. some of the nicest people you ever want to meet are in self-storage. So I'll use that as my third.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That's a third.
Yeah.
So Margot, you touched on earlier that one of your big things that you focus on is when you initially purchase a facility, you kind of take care of the capital expenses on that. Maybe give us a picture of what is that? No deal's the same as the DEX, but typically, what are those things that you're spending a lot of money on and a lot of time on up front, when the impression is that, self-storage is fairly hands-off, there isn't a heck of a lot that needs to be done. So what are you typically having to do to bring up these facilities up to snuff?
There's really just a handful of things. We paint every facility. We take care of the driveways, and that can be different things. Sometimes it's gravel, sometimes it's concrete repair, sometimes it's asphalt, but that's one of the big things. There's usually a fair amount of door repair, whether it's actually doors or hardware, and other security type things like fencing and camera systems and so forth. But the thing that's really great about storage and the types of deals we do is that before we even close, we have bids on all of those things. We have actual numbers. So when we do our raise, we know exactly what that number is. And those are all things that we accomplish generally in a 90-day time period. But, worst case scenario, we did one property where we took a building on site and did climate control storage. That took us up to about 6 months, but that's not typical. Normally in 90 days, we have everything done, and we have contracts when we start. So it's not like multifamily where if you're planning to do them all, you're probably finishing, the 70th unit in 3 years, and those numbers are totally different. So we know the numbers when we go in.
Okay, very, very cool. Is there a lot of, if you're buying from mom and pops, does there tend to be a lot of like upgrading when it comes to how to operate the facility remotely and that kind of thing to get your management company able to take care of everything for you? Is that a big part of the whole thing at the beginning too?
It can be. Most people have automatic doors and that kind of thing, but not everyone. So it hasn't been too difficult to accomplish that. But, a lot of these mom and pops, they're not professionalized. They're not doing things in the modern way. So, between those types of sort of mechanical things and just operationally, there are a lot of things to do.
So, Christy, you talked about the big benefits of self-storage, and you've got background and other things to be able to compare and contrast it to. However, life is life, reality is reality. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows. What are the not so great side of things when it comes to self-storage in your experience?
There's always going to be that random thing that happens on a Tuesday night, right?
You're not supposed to get those midnight Tuesday night.
Oh no, and we don't get
block toilet.
They don't happen to us.
It doesn't. We don't get them personally. We hear about it the next day.
Okay.
But in certain areas, you're going to have random roof leaks because it was New Year's, and for some reason, Americans like to shoot off their little pew-pews for New Year's. So now you have bullet holes that come through your roof. So now you have, and it's wintertime. So now you have roof leaks that you weren't necessarily expecting. Once in a while, you'll have customers that are calling into your customer service and they're unhappy. What I will say is we have significantly less problems because we're not dealing with people's lives in the same way. If something goes wrong at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock with your self-storage, nobody is dying. It's not like other asset classes. So we do experience.
So usually not a backed up toilet and massive flooding or something like that.
No, but I will say this. We had a unit that had termites.
That's true.
But it's all metal and cinder block. Sweep it out, get rid of that termite material, fumigate, and the problem does not spread. It's not like if you have multifamily where now you have to open walls and investigate and see. We know exactly what the problem was. The guy stored some, things in there, and it is what it is. So we have problems. Our problems are not are not as great as
They're a walk in a park compared to dealing with living, breathing tenants, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Margot, you guys talked about the fact that you've done a lot of seller financing deals so far. That's a big part of your model. But you also mentioned that when you're doing a raise, so it sounds like you're raising capital as well. So, if the sellers are financing things, what exactly are you raising capital for? Is that basically for the down payment and the improvements, or how does that look?
It's for down payment, closing costs, and improvements. And yeah, that's basically it.
Very, very cool. All right. And what have you guys found recently that's working well for you for connecting with investors? Finding new investors. Being on podcasts, that works nicely.
Cash flow is king.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's
Cash
true.
flow is king. And I'll say that, because of the way we structure our deals and because we always project to begin our distributions, if not after the first 3 months and after the first 6 months of ownership, and double-digit returns. Investors like the way we structure. They like the cash flow. And so it really helps us to raise money for our deals.
Very nice. Awesome. So as we're wrapping things up here, Margot, maybe tell us a little bit about where you see the company going, where you see your partnership going, where you see the portfolio going over the next 1 to 2 years.
Well, we started out with a 5-year plan. We're a couple years in, but we keep saying 5 years, 5 more years. So who knows what that's going to turn into?
We're having fun.
Sounds like
we're
you're
having
a good time.
fun.
Yeah.
We looked out and, not only have a good business model that's successful, but we like each other.
Yeah.
So that's helpful. But, we're trying to acquire a minimum of 2 and, up to 4, maybe 6 properties a year. So we're being really aggressive, and this year's looking like it's going to be a super busy year.
Nice.
Lots going on, already getting ready to close our second deal, and got a lot of the year left to get some others under our belt. So, and we expect to do that for the next few years.
Congratulations. That's exciting. All right, you guys. So as we wrap things up, Christy, maybe you can tell us if people are listening or watching this episode and they'd like to find out more, if they'd like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, one of the things that you didn't ask us is about the name of our company. And the pronunciation is WeCRE, which stands for We Invest in Commercial Real Estate. WIICRE.com. And that's where people can find us. Come to our website and connect with us, reach out to us. We're more than happy to schedule a Zoom chat, explain more about self-storage and why we absolutely love this asset class.
Wonderful. All right, one more time. What's that URL?
WIICRE.com.
Fantastic. Well, hey, this has been great. Great getting to know you two. Fascinating that you've connected across massive distances. You've partnered up. You're both investing from afar. You've got your partnership is all virtual because you're not in the same place. So you're doing it probably a lot of stuff on Zoom and Slack and virtually. That is really, really inspirational. Thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Thanks
so much for having us.
My pleasure. All right, everybody, take care, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Property Profits Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, apply at daveinterviews.com.